Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today. Well, today's Monday and I've decided to sit down and do a little bit of stitching on my Thomas Kincade chart. This is called Home for the Holidays, and I've been working on this one for about 5 months now. And it's a mini chart, so it's totally doable within a reasonable time frame, as in it's not going to take 50 years or anything to complete, hopefully. No, I'm kidding. It really won't take that long. I've been doing really well with this one in the sense that I have had a little goal, and I've been working on it so that I would get to I was hoping to get to about 50% by the end of June, which gives me another 6 months to do the other 50%, which means it's totally doable that I could finish this chart by the end of the year. Now, I'm not going to put my name down. I'm not going to sign the dotted line on that because I really don't know one way or the other. Can't predict the future, as I keep saying to people. So, but up to now, so far, it's kind of been swings and roundabouts. I've been getting a good portion of it done, and then other weeks I've done nothing. I haven't really touched this one during the beginning of June, but I did start kind of speeding up a little bit towards the end of this month. So yeah, it's exactly that, swings and roundabouts. And I totally think it's a fantastic chart. But it can get, once you start doing all this background, it can get a little bit tiring after a while, unless you're one of those people that really loves the background and just can't live without it. I'm okay with doing background as long as it's not forever. I'm not a forever background person. I can do it for little stints, and then I need to swap and change and all that stuff. But yeah, unfortunately, it's part of the whole picture, so it does need to get done. And I'm so amazed when you see these stitchers that do, oh my goodness, they do like a whole chart, which is just basically just background. That's it. There's no details, not really a lot of small details. Maybe you get like a little windmill, or you get like a little house or something, but not enough details that you would have to spend too much time working on. It's just mostly background. And I think, they're doing it for the love of the stitching, really, because they're not going to be too overexcited about revealing a little detail, because they're not going to have that many of them. So yeah, it all depends on personal taste, doesn't it, at the end of the day? So I'm really not trying to get the background done first or anything. I'm kind of going down now in sort of columns. This is what I've been doing lately. I was sort of in the diagonal crazy club for a little while, and then that sort of petered out a little bit in June. And now I'm back to the block crazy club. So I seem to have a very flexible subscription to crazy clubs, and every now and again I swap from one crazy club technique to another crazy club technique. But that's fine, because it keeps it interesting and it keeps it varied, and there's nothing worse than getting bored, because if you get bored, you know what that means, don't you? If you get bored of your stitching, it's game over for either stitching or for whichever chart you're working on. So we've got to keep it interesting. We really do have to keep it interesting, especially when we're working on areas like this, which are all kind of mostly looking the same, to be honest. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got to make sure I count. Get that down. So how has everybody been? What have you been up to? We've had the most glorious couple of weeks. You've probably already heard from other floss tubers or other people. Glorious couple of weeks here in Scotland. It has been amazingly beautiful. I mean, like, we're talking Hawaii sunshine. It's just, incredible. and everybody going around in their summer gear and everything. It's really brightened up spirits. I'm sure it does. It does the soul a lot of good, and it's been nice to have that opportunity to spend more time outdoors, just because it's more comfortable to spend more time outdoors, right? So that's what's been going on. More time outdoors, going to parks, going into the town, walking around and just, enjoying nature and people watching, and going to the shopping centre, of course, and doing bits and pieces. Although yesterday was a huge surprise because we got a little forecast of thunderstorms and rain, and I thought, well, that's okay. We've had a good run of hot weather here in Scotland, so obviously it's going to come to an end at some point. But last night I was lying on the bed reading my book, and all of a sudden it had been drizzling up to about 10 o'clock or so, and then literally the heavens just opened. It was like that sound of water just smashing onto your roof. And I said, oh my God, something's going to get flooded. If not our apartment, then something will. And the rain was just crazy, absolutely crazy. But everything looked so green and fresh and vibrant this morning. When I looked out of the window, everything looked so lovely. But hopefully that didn't last until today, because I was kind of worried that my son would get soaked and have to walk to school. He doesn't take a school bus or anything. He literally walks to school because it's about 15 minutes from that 15-minute walk from home. I mean, it's walkable distance, but when it's heavy rain, nothing is walkable distance. It's just like really awful. But when we woke up this morning, the weather was fine. It was bright, not exactly sunny, but there was no sign of rain. So there was no problem with that for him this morning. Off he went as usual. And I suppose it's a good thing, because I had heard that there was, that the government had implemented a hosepipe ban, which is something they do when, in periods of drought or when they don't predict there to be a lot of rain. But I think after last night, they've had a good plentiful, right? It really chucked it down. So I think the hosepipe ban might well be lifted after yesterday. So today we're back to having, well, not exactly sunny, but we've got some, oh dear, did I park this one in the wrong place? Oh God, I'm just like getting mad about parking things in the wrong place at the moment. The reason I can tell I've parked something in the wrong place is because when I go to park a different one, it's not next to the hole where the one that's parked should be, if you know what I mean. You suddenly think, well, if I park this here, the one that's supposed to be parked beside it is not beside it. So what did I do? Well, that's okay, because I just parked one hole down than I should have. So that's all for the lack of counting properly, which is usually the case, to be honest. Well, I could have actually done that stitch now instead of taking the thread out. Don't you sometimes just do silly things and you think, why am I doing silly things? Honestly, just not thinking straight today at the moment. This thread is not very long. I think I'm going to just end it somewhere down here. Because once they get that they're only like an inch or so long, inch or two long, they just keep coming out of the needle anyway. So and then I look and see how much thread I actually need for that colour, and on that one I only need 70 stitches for that colour, so I've got plenty of thread. So I don't mind ditching a couple of bits of thread. I'm going to do this one now. I'm going to try and clear myself a little space just to do the main colour. So if I've got like 3 or 4 stitches of one colour here, I'll try and do them first, and then I will go and do the bigger amounts of colour at the end. So there's one there and there's one down here. which I will do. So I'm not snaking at the moment. What I'm doing is I'm just going by colour or by symbol, and I'm going to park where I need to park. So in this one, where's the closest stitch? I usually park at the closest stitch to where I'm finishing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's the closest stitch that I can park at. Really just to make, you know, so that there's not too much thread being carried behind. And I might get rid of this one as well. And see if I can park it, but it does again look like there's not a lot of thread in this one. So I can hear my cat grumbling a little bit. She's a little bit unsettled today. Don't know why that is. It might be due to the weather, air pressure, and I know it affects me a bit anyway. So maybe she's just having a funny turn. She likes staring out of the window and watching people, and I think she just likes to moan at people going past or do some sort of interactions. Anyway, I don't know what she's doing. Hey Misty, what are you up to? Maybe she's seen a dog or another cat. She's totally an indoor cat, and she doesn't have a desire at all to go outside, but she does like to look outside. She likes to see everything that's going on, but she doesn't want to be out in it. So that's perfectly fine. So she's got her tower in front of the window, which is where she spends a lot of time chilling and just people watching. She likes doing that. Just watching everybody, watching the world go by. That is her jam. But she does moan at them. And sometimes she bats the window. She's sort of guarding for flies and birds and things. And if she sees any of them getting too close, she'll start batting at the window, like warning them, don't you dare come inside here. She really is quite a funny cat. Now, if I use my left hand, I'm going to be covering up the screen a bit, which isn't great. So I'm trying to use my right hand, which is really awkward because it's kind of right in front where the camera is. But we'll see how we go. I can never seem to find the perfect recording position, to be honest. It's always a little bit tricky. Wherever I'm sitting or however I try to do it, it just always ends up being a bit tricky. Never 100% comfortable, but hey, it's fine as long as I can see my stitches and I can get my needle in and I'm not making a huge mistake. We're okay for a while. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1 here. And yeah. So not much else news really. Good weather, out and about, and school ends in just over a week or a week, about 10 days. School will finish, and I think my son is well pleased with that because he likes his time, his own time, and it's going to be nice for him to have a bit of a break as well. He's not the most outgoing fellow, but he does like to get out sometimes. So we will do a bit of that during the school holidays. And again, I'm going to end my thread somewhere down here. And if you're wondering why I do that, well, when I continue stitching up here, it should really cover the back. And I leave the teeniest tip of a tail. And I've never had a problem with that. So, like, none of my stitches up here have come back out or anything. Never really had a problem with it. So we're good. So what we've got in here is a real mix of lilac and blue and brown and green. Yeah, a lot of green a little bit of brown, slight colours of very light sort of, I don't know if that's a blue. There's so many different shades of blue now. It's hard to even give it a name. Everything's just blue, no matter what shade of blue. It's totally confusing. May I go with this colour now? Totally confusing. So I'm enjoying doing a bit further down this piece because I'm actually getting some of the details up of the house. And there's like a couple of people in this picture. A few people, and there's a boy with a sledge, I think. And looking forward to getting to those details, but they do take longer because obviously you've got more colours in them than just up here. Got fewer colours up here. So yeah, quicker to stitch obviously, but not exactly riveting. No, I should have done that colour first. Would have been easier. Okay, which way am I going now? To the right, I think. There we go. And this one's a bit scatty, this colour. It's a bit all over the place. Two, three, and this one. That's cool. So in my last video, I was talking about how I wanted to get a little bit fitter and I wanted to get a little, maybe even a bit more healthy eating. I don't like saying the word diet because diets don't work. They just, when you think of the word diet, you just want to go and eat everything, right? So no. So I don't ever use that word in my head, but trying to be more aware of not picking on biscuits and, you know, snacky stuff. And I've been doing fine, but I do get the odd occasion where I find myself just wanting to go quite randomly to the cupboard and just eat something, anything. I don't care, just for the sake of eating. And it's really quite compulsive and annoying. And I've been aware of that, obviously. So I've been saying to myself, no, come on, turn away, go do some more stitching or do something else. This is not going to happen. And I thought I did fairly good this week. I really did. But when I went to weigh myself today, I think I lost only something like 400 grams, right? 400 grams is, I'm really bad with the terms and everything, but it's not even a kilo. So I'm thinking, well, you know, okay, so maybe it's not because I did badly, because there was like one day in the week I ate a pizza. I did eat a pizza, but as a meal, and I didn't snack or do other, you know, eat any other bad stuff during the day. I just, I was pretty good. I think I've just made 2 mistakes here. 1, 2. Yeah, what happened there? Yeah, I did. Okay, time for the frog. So I had pizza and I thought, okay, well, you know, if I just continue as normal and don't stress about it, wasn't even a huge pizza, but it's, yeah, it's not a great thing to eat when you're trying to lose a bit of weight. But then I thought, well, you know what, 400 grams is better than gaining 400 grams, right? If you look at it like that. No, I think that stitch was right. That stitch, 1, 2, 3, was the one I did wrong. So if you tip it over, if you flip what you just thought in your head, because this morning I checked it and I thought, oh God, I've only lost 400 grams. Like I was hoping to lose like at least a kilo. So 400 grams is, I think it's half a kilo, right? Or just under half a kilo. So that's not bad. That's not terrible. At least I didn't gain it. And I even had that pizza. So got to look at it on the positive side. It wasn't exactly exciting or anything, but it was something. Because what do you want to do when you realize that you haven't lost weight? You want to go and eat, of course, just to drown your sorrows. But no, I'm going to be good. I'm going to be good. So yeah. And then forget about it as soon as possible and just get back on track. And just ignore the urge to eat a whole packet of biscuits, right? Not that I've ever eaten a whole packet in one sitting or anything like that. But I can be a little bit of a nibbler. I can like grab a biscuit with my cup of tea and then I can have like 3 of them, say. And then maybe in the evening, do the same thing or whatever. And it's just those little things that just add up over time that sometimes you're not even aware of. And then you start to feel a little uncomfortable in your clothes and things start to get a bit tight. And then you realize it's more effort to get off the chair, more effort to sit down on the chair, stuff like that. Okay, part of that is due to old age creeping up a little bit. But for the most part, I want to be a little bit more springy, which made my son laugh when I said to him, I want to be a bit more springy. And he just laughed, like, what does springy mean? And I said, yeah, like Tigger. Tigger's springy. He bounces around. And he's got loads of energy and stuff. So, yeah, I guess it just depends on one's interpretation of the word bouncy or whatever it is, springy. I guess I'm thinking the word springy because it's summer, right? It's spring, summer. The weather's great. You want to do more stuff when the weather's good. Okay, so which colour do we have next? I just continue with that colour. Or maybe I'll just do this one first. And then I've got a nice big palette of one colour. If I can get this one. Gosh. Got lots of itsy bits of thread all over the place. So, yeah. Oh, and I wanted to say thank you again. I know I said thank you in my last Stitch With Me, but I just want to say it again. Thank you to those of you who watched my history podcast and actually enjoyed it. I so enjoyed recording that podcast. I even enjoyed, thinking about what I was going to talk about and how I was going to present it. And just thinking about the topic itself really interested me. And the fact that so many of you enjoyed it has actually motivated me to do more of them. And I'm going to be planning, I'm sort of already planning another one, but it's going to be a little bit of a secret for the moment. I'm not going to tell you what the subject matter is because it'll just spoil the surprise, I think. So it'll be nice for those of you that really enjoyed it. Nice of you to find out when I put up a post or when I actually get it online. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I kind of like doing it. Although I do wonder whether, I don't really want to just be doing just history podcasts because there's people that are not that interested in history and would miss out on my normal Stitch With Me's, and I'm aware of that, and I don't want to take something away. Just by adding something new, I don't want to take something away that I know other people enjoy. So here I am doing the normal Stitch With Me, and hopefully I will get the next episode podcast. I will have it up in a week or 2 weeks' time. Let's see. Depends how much time I get to actually, pull out all the footage that I need and all that kind of stuff. Takes a little bit of time to plan. Takes a little bit of time to get stuff together as well. Like if you need images and stuff, and then you've got to source images that you can use legally, and then going through all my footage as well to see if I've recorded anything that's interesting or that's related. it's just good to do that as well. So some things, I don't want to just do a very rushed thing. I like to think about what I'm saying and talk about any books that I've read on the topic itself. Which I have actually. I've read a book, which is a book recently, which is about the subject matter that I'm going to talk about next in my podcast. So that's going to be really interesting. So I think it's going to be very enjoyable because I've got a head start already with reading a whole book on it. So yeah. Because sometimes you do the research and you get like the basic information, which is fine. But when you read a book as well, you get different interpretations. You get more in-depth information as well. Like I knew the story, or I've mostly known the story of Mary, Queen of Scots. But it wasn't until I read about 2 or 3 biographies from different authors that I actually got really intensely involved in the minute details. Stuff which you don't get in, say, like just a brief overview. You'll only get like birth dates, date how the person died, who they married, when they were made king or queen, who was in the succession, just a very concise, broad overview of understanding of that person. But when you get into a meaty biography, then all of there's no stone unturned. You get pictures, you get photographs of letters that they've written, things that they've said. It's really much more interesting. Things that they used to wear and eat and how they behaved together, even what they would think at times. I don't know how historians can interpret what people think, but I would assume that by their actions alone, you can more or less guess what was on somebody's mind, especially if they committed an act of murder or something like that. You can assume that they obviously didn't like the person they murdered, right? But there's much more in-depth stuff when you're reading biographies, which is what makes it even more interesting, I think. Right, so I'm going for another green colour here. Lots and lots of greens up here in the sky. So what else have I been working on in June so far? I've worked on Sad Fairy, not much at all, probably less than 500 stitches. I just didn't bring that one out for whatever reason. And I've also worked on mostly on Riverwalk Charm again. And I haven't really done a lot of Fruits of Plenty since I last uploaded a video. I haven't done a lot of that one. But, it's just one of those things. You can't always be on top of all of them. I know some floss tubers agree with me on that one because they also have trouble trying to keep up with the rotation sometimes when life gets in the way. But hey, we get there eventually. We will get there. So hopefully, if I'm still on track with this one by December, I should be getting to about 90% on this chart. And if you want me to break it down in terms of how many stitches that would mean I have to do, it's probably about 150 a day I would have to do. About 1,000 a week at least to be able to get up to near that point. But what's been happening with me is I've been doing like 2 weeks of not much of stitching and just bring it out once or twice, but then doing about 500 in that particular session. So whilst I haven't been bringing it out every day, I've been doing quite a lot on it when I do bring it out, so it kind of makes it up for the lack of frequency, which is just another way of doing 150 a day. If you do 500 a week or something, same thing really. So I love the diagonal stitching, but I found that I'm a bit flitty with doing something for a long period of time. I don't know why that is. I think I get bored. How many of you get bored of your technique or your way of stitching? How long do you stick to a technique before you say, I've had enough of this, I'm going in a different way? Because I know some of us, and I do it frequently, change our techniques on the same piece multiple times. I mean, it won't surprise me if in a month's time or even less, I will be going back to doing some diagonals here, because I feel like that's just, maybe even kind of normal, because you know that you can do things in various ways. So you just automatically maybe swap now and then. I don't think everybody does that, but I certainly do. And like I said, I don't think there's any particular reason other than it just keeps it interesting. Just keeps it interesting. Must be careful here because there is another colour in the way. Yeah, I thought I had a clear space of one colour, but there isn't. There's around here where I'm working. There is another colour as well, so I can't just mow everything down, which is what I like to do sometimes. Just go straight across like crazy. Okay, the back is getting a little bit tight. Trying to push the needle through. Okay, what happened there? 2, 3, 4. Okay. No, it's fine. We're just going to go this way now. Go to the right. Safe on the right side of this. There is no other colours than the one I'm using, so we're pretty safe. Let's go. So honestly, if I make a stitch error in this section, I really couldn't care less. I mean, just look at it, right? It's just a jumbled up mess of confetti. So why would it matter if I did a green one instead of a purple one or grey one up here? No, that doesn't mean I'm trying to get anything wrong. Absolutely not. But if I do a stitch wrong now, for instance, I'm not going to frog it because it's just far too random to worry about. But I do try to not fudge it, obviously, which is why I'm trying to count carefully. But I'm feeling like either the fabric or needle, something's feeling scratchy today. I wonder if it's because the weather's so dry. The atmosphere feels really dry. I wonder if the weather affects the fabric, honestly, because sometimes it can feel like ultra dry. I don't know if you know what I mean. Sort of scratchy, not very smooth. Oh, I've come back down to the left again, haven't I? Just keep doing that. And yeah. That's okay. That one's okay. So I don't want to do these two. I think I can do these two. What are you up to, Misty? I hope you're not scratching at the sockets on the wall. That's not a good idea, is it, Misty? Come here. Come on. Come on. Yes, I understand. I know exactly what you mean. Oh, she wants to come for a little hug. You want to come for a little hug and say hello? You never really say hello, do you? Here. Say hello, Misty. Yeah, you're being a naughty girl today, aren't you? Very naughty girl. So we have to interrupt our stitching for a cat cuddle. Let's see if I can move the camera. Oh, Misty, come on. Sorry, we have to interrupt the stitching for a cat cuddle. Let's see if I can get you in here, Miss. Hey, good girl. Is she a good girl? Yeah, oh, she likes it. She likes a chin scratch. Come on. There's a good girl. Oh, you've decided you've had enough now, have you? Where are you off to? I guess that's my stitching session done. She's just sort of interrupted my whole setup now anyway. Misty, what's she looking for? I know what she wants. Misty, she wants me to throw a treat behind the chair for her so she can go and fetch it, but she's getting really clever with that and trying to con me into throwing too many of them. And I'm thinking, nope, because she's going to gain weight, she's going to have a problem, and we don't want to get into that really. Are you hiding? Okay, I think that's it. She's decided to go, not coming out again. Like I said, she's in a crazy mood today. I don't know what's going on with her. She's probably looking for treats behind the chair. So that's it for today. I think that's where I'm going to stop. Okay, it wasn't the most amount of stitching in the world, but it was better than nothing, and I will finish this section when I come back later, and then sort of working like not in rows but finishing each colour in each square, and then I'll be going down into these columns and then down here, and I'll just keep going. And the sky part here is looking really good. It's going to get done when it gets done. What else can I say? So I'll be coming back to it. So have a good day, everyone, and I'll catch up with you very, very soon again. Speak soon. Bye for now.